Good morning. Thank you for being with us this morning. Just before midnight, North Precinct Officer Christopher Royer was on routine patrol in the area of Clarksville Pike and Ed Temple Boulevard when he checked the license plate of a white, late model Mercedes sedan. The license plate on that Mercedes came back registered to a 1998 green Chevrolet. Officer Royer conducted a vehicle stop on the Mercedes to investigate the license plate issue. The driver of the Mercedes saw Officer Royer's blue lights and stopped at 3236 Clarksville Pike. The driver presented no issues at any time. The passenger, however, immediately got out of the Mercedes with two large butcher knives, one in each hand, and began running around erratically. Officer Royer repeatedly yelled for the man to drop the knives, even as he momentarily entered the driver's door of Officer Royer's police car. The driver of the Mercedes also repeatedly yelled at the passenger, "What are you doing?" and "Stop." Ultimately, the passenger charged Officer Royer with the knives as Officer Royer backpedaled some 25 yards from his police car. You will now see footage from Officer Royer's body-worn camera. A word of caution: the images and information you are about to see may be disturbing to watch. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey, stay in the car. Drop the knife. Give me the air. Clarksville Pike, 3236. He's got a knife. Get out of the car! Get out of the car! Drop the knife! Drop the knife!
What are you doing?
Dude, what are you doing? Drop the knife! I don't want to shoot you!
Stop!
I don't want to shoot you!
Stop!
Hey, give me some cars up here. He's got a knife. Give me some cars. He's got a knife. Drop it! 13 shots fired. Give me some cars up here. Clarksville Pike just past Buena Vista. Hey, stay over there! Stay over there! Dude, what are you doing, man? Come on! I did not want to have to do that.
The as yet unidentified man died shortly after arriving at Vanderbilt University Medical Center. Officer Royer is a 4-year veteran of the Nashville Police Department. By policy, he is now on administrative assignment as the TBI and the Davidson County District Attorney's Office investigate and analyze this incident. Our police department will also be conducting an administrative review of this interaction to ensure that it meets the high standards expected of our officers. And now Chief John Drake will speak to you about this morning's shooting.
Good morning, and thank you all for being here. When I got the call this morning, I had mixed emotions, especially with all that's going on around the nation and in this city, to say. And so no officer wants to deal with this type of situation as Officer Roy encountered tonight. He did everything he could, I felt. He retreated. He asked the individual to drop the weapon several times. He continued charging at him, and he was left with no choice. What you don't see on there is that when he was down, there was 5 officers that rendered aid to this individual. We don't know. The TBI is investigating this incident, but his rather bizarre behavior, we'll try to find out what all this stemmed from. But right now, we're still investigating this. The TBI will be looking into it, the DA's office, and we'll move forward. And so I'll take any questions that you have.
Chief Drake, could you explain the protocol? What prompted the officer to put in that license plate to search for it?
Well, we have a number of stolen vehicles, usually around 3,000 a year. Officers run tags all the time to determine if vehicles are stolen or not. When he ran this particular vehicle, it was on a white Mercedes, but it came back to a green Chevy, and so he went further in his investigation. The driver of the vehicle was fine. It was the individual that got out of the passenger side. So.
What is the status of the driver? What is he in custody or being questioned, or what's going on with that?
The TBI is still investigating this. He's not in our custody. He was very compliant with officers. He actually was telling the individual to drop the knives themselves, I believe. Asked him what he was doing. I think he was confused as to behavior as well, and this was his passenger.
Do you know if the driver had knowledge the passenger had those weapons on him?
I don't have that knowledge. So.
Did I hear correctly that there were 3 shots fired by the officer?
I can't give you the number. There was 2 or 3. It could have been more. So the TBI is investigating that.
It looked like he only had pulled his pistol. Did he have a taser or any other less lethal option he might have had at the beginning?
In those situations, you can't. I'm sure he did have a taser. Our officers are issued tasers, but in those situations, that's a lethal situation. He de-escalated by retreating. He moved backwards. Again, ordering the individual to drop the weapon. In those situations, it's a lethal. You can't use less lethal if someone's attacking you with a knife. So.
Do we know the relationship between the driver and the passenger? Were they just friends or relatives? Or?
Don't know the relationship. Just know they were together. The vehicle was stopped, and the passenger got out and started running around with knives. I would love to know more about it. The behavior is bizarre, but as the investigation continues, we'll learn more.
Do we know if there was any drugs, alcohol, or anything that may point to that inside the vehicle?
There were some drugs at the scene. It's a marijuana, I think, was a bag with individual plastic bags. Unsure the amount, but unsure if that has actually played a role in it or not. So.
Could you clarify the spelling and title of the officer?
He's a police officer. His spelling of his last name is Royer, and Christopher.
Christopher.
Yes.
4 years on the force?
4 years, yes.
Was the car determined whether it was stolen or not?
Don't have those facts yet. The investigation is continuing. So.
When you have a shooting like this, like you said, with everything else that's been going on, and it looks like your officer did everything right, protocol, everything else, is it a good sign to see and to show the public that these officers are put in these situations, and that not all of them are in a bad light or anything, that they do have to do what they have to do?
That's exactly right, and no officer wants to encounter these types of situations, but it's always the unknown when we respond to calls, and he did everything he could. He retreated. He ordered him to put the knives down. These situations come up out of the just out of the blue sometimes, and all are not bad incidents. This appears to possibly be justified. We'll find out once the investigation moves forward. But the officers are put in these situations, and it's unfortunate.